let me get going. Why don't our panel introduce yourself and your major to Pete, and Pete will introduce himself and get started.
I'm Robbie. I'm a finance major at University.
I'm William Blake. I'm a finance major at Illinois University.
I'm Jessica Palmer. I'm a double major in management and entrepreneurship.
I'm Julian Wong, business management major and exercise science minor at Illinois University.
Nice to meet you guys. All right. So first question: can you guys tell me about a time you failed? How did you deal with this situation?
Well, over from the winter 2016-2017, I had a work placement at a company called Spring Doors Limited, a small little one that was up and coming and does services for doors and garages. And I was set the task of, by the Thursday of the last week, I had to adjust their website and make it look better and then get the words right and all that stuff. And I didn't meet that deadline, but by the Friday, I did do it more than I was expecting to do, and I got in contact with a local company which does reviews and recommendations for service companies like them, and got them recommendations. So went up and
I can go. So I worked for a catering company last summer, and on the job you kind of need to be like really quick and efficient in your work, and I dropped so many glasses, like unreasonable amount. It was so much money. Yeah. So going from there, I obviously like talked to the person in charge who was running the event and just like told them about it, and then like took the steps to fix it, and obviously be like apologetic about the situation and just put like more effort in to show that I can work hard still.
You can repeat the question for them, Pizza, so it's top of
Tell me
mind.
about a time you failed, and how did you deal with this situation?
Okay, yeah, so I am involved with the Story and Chicken Company over the summer, and we had to hire 8 employees for a certain day of our move-out schedule, and my boss kept telling me, get at least double the amount of applications as people you need, and because you're going to need it, people are going to fall through. So I didn't believe him as much as I thought I should, so instead of 8 people being available, I had 4, even though I had like 10 plus applications. So one thing that I did was I had really reliable friends, and I'm very lucky for that, so I got on the phone pretty much with everyone in my contacts until I had 4 more people that could work for me, and I was really lucky that my friends came through for me, but I should have believed my boss a little more, and I should have, prepared more than I did and listened to someone who was in a better position.
Great.
So last time I worked for a marketing company. It was mainly like a sales position, and I was traveling around to clients their houses and like kitchenware and gardening tools. And in June, I was doing a lot of traveling, and my boss wanted us to meet a certain sales level. Just because I was traveling around so much, I couldn't really put in the amount of work that I wanted to. So we ended up not meeting that sales level, but in July, I was around the whole time. I kind of like just put all of my time into the job, and we actually ended up succeeding. We were like nationally ranked for our office on the sales level, so that was kind of how we overcame it.
Great job. Jordan, you started us off. Why don't you talk to us about how relevant you felt you were to answering the question, your confidence level?
I thought it was pretty relevant, but I didn't mention the fact that I was like a marketing consultant. Didn't make it specific as to what my position was in the company. And at the end, I didn't say exactly what it is I learned from the situation, sort of assume the interview would get there.
I'd agree with your assessment. I think you're right on the mark. So you could have given a little bit more detail about the marketing role that you had. Let's see, where did I put that? But you did talk about the result in terms of you managed to get that website done, even though you were behind schedule. You did it, and you also were able to get a recommendation from, was it a website?
Yeah.
Like a Yelp or something like that. So that's a really good result and a good turnaround. So that's what they're looking for. You acknowledge you made a mistake, you took some proactive steps to address it, and you moved on. But I think just at the beginning, you could have talked a little bit more about your role was to, this was it. This is what you're supposed to be hired for. And then confidence level, how did you feel?
It's all right.
Yeah, I thought so too. Jessica?
Yeah, I don't really know if I did a good job or not. Because I feel like failed, I took it in a different sense
Mhm.
than like other people. So I don't know how relevant I was. I think confidence was okay. Maybe like eye contact.
The way a lack of confidence might come through is using words like, yeah, well, you know, you repeated yourself, dropped some glasses way more than it should have been, a ton of money. You know, just the glasses thing would be fine. What I want to hear is more about your character. I took accountability for my actions. I went to the owner, the manager, and told him what happened. You talked to him to see how you could be, how you could fix the situation, right? At the beginning, you set yourself up for, this is a job that requires efficiency, and I dropped glasses. So I got a little mixed up as whether you're going to tell me more about how you weren't as efficient as you could be, or whether you were protecting, you know, the property of the caterer, if you will. So look at the diction, could tighten that up just a little bit. So I would want to hear a little bit more about, you know, I took ownership of the situation, didn't hide from it, and I've learned that, you know, whatever. You show that you've learned something from it, okay? But still a relevant story to share. Will, why don't you talk to us about your experience in the marketing, sales?
I did pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to like keep the flow going. Like my voice, like I think for me felt shaky, but I don't know if it really like sounded that shaky.
It was a little soft, and if you do feel it shaking, somebody might not, or your audience might not notice it, but try to put more energy, more breath behind it. It'll even right out. And it'll get deeper as well, which makes us all feel more confident. That's a little technique. In terms of your answer, though, how did you feel? You hit the situation, action,
Yeah.
result? Okay.
I just felt like how I felt during June and July, kind of like rectified that.
Okay. I like how you showed that you rectified it and you were able to talk about a business result that you said your sales exceeded the national target. Is that correct? So the piece that could be a little sharper is talking about the travel schedule. How did that impact your ability to keep up with your other work? Was it just simply travel, or was it you took the eye off the ball for a little bit?
Yeah, it was like just, well, I started the job like right when I got home, so like the end of May,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was around for like 2 weeks, but then at the end of the month, like last like 2 weeks, I was traveling around, so that wasn't.
Traveling for work, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, you know, that should be considered part of your responsibilities, but that's an opportunity to talk about, I've learned how to juggle priorities a little bit better through that experience, right? Relevant, and that's the type of thing that they'd be looking for. Robbie, how did you feel you did with your response and confidence level?
I thought my response was like okay. It was kind of a red flag to say I didn't listen to my boss, but I did say how I learned from that. And now I will listen to my superiors, kind of. So I thought it was pretty relevant. I felt pretty fine. I have enough experience where I feel comfortable like, kind of making stuff up for these questions, even if I have to. So.
All right. So careful with saying I didn't really believe my boss or my superior as much as I should. That would be an opportunity to say I didn't take, you know, I didn't follow direction to the T, and it got me in a little bit of trouble. But I was able to make sure in that situation that one, I learned my lesson, and two, I was able to rectify it by using my network of contacts to really populate your. What type of company was it?
It's like a moving company.
Moving company. Okay, so you were able to call on people and not just have those 4 people available, but 8 to 10 as you needed. So lessons learned. So these are always going to be tough, kind of sticky questions. So good job, everybody. Thank you. Who's our next group? Who hasn't gone yet? Anna and Annie. Who else? Ethan. Did anybody else not have an opportunity to go yet? Everybody? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Why don't we skip to the communication section? Who wants to be our interviewer for this? Nate, can I rely on you to be the interviewer?
Yeah, I need a.
Need a copy of it?
Yeah.
Here, there's a copy right there. I'm going to hand that over to him. Jack? All right. Who will keep time for us in case we run long? Okay, Jack, thanks. So if they go over 3 minutes, just raise your hand. And maybe move a little bit closer. Either sit at that table on the left. Yeah, communication. Just select one question from there. And try to position yourself so you can make some eye contact with them to keep them comfortable. And you're ready? Yes.
I'm Annie Caldwell. I'm a strategic communications major and I go to Yale University.
I'm Ethan Gulak. I'm a finance major and I go to Yale University.
I'm Anna Britt. I'm a political science major at Yale University.
Give me an example of a time when you successfully persuade someone to see things your way at work.
I can start. So for the past couple summers, I've worked maintenance for a corporate office park. And what that entails is obviously general maintenance on the building, but also restructuring and organizing moves when they reorganize cubicles and the layout of each floor. And those moves are usually pretty large. They're usually between 100 and 150 people. It's a lot of moving parts. Sometimes it can be easy to get disorganized and lose track of things. And not my direct boss, but someone who had authority to give me instructions was handling one of those moves. And the way he was going about it worked for him because he'd been doing it for so long. But myself and some of the newer guys weren't able to think in the same fashion that he was, and we needed to find a new way to have all these moves organized, make sure that all the things from people people had everything from their old cubicles and that it was getting to their new cubicles, whether they needed new keyboard trays installed, whether they need standing Vera desks installed. So we started using sheets and we would tack those onto their new cubicles. But he was against that idea at first. But I started doing it. I eventually talked him into it. I was like, just let us try it out. And we were able to get a lot more done more quickly and without really any mistakes. And eventually he kind of saw it our way.
So over the summer I worked at a restaurant, like a pizza place, and I remember my first day of work, it was like really packed and I like had so many tables and I just kind of like kept getting like behind myself and like off track and didn't like serve people on time, and like so this one table actually like got on the left and like told me that I like wasn't serving them well. And at the end of the day, my boss came up to me and said that he wasn't pleased with my like performance, and I just had to tell him that like I had to communicate with him and say like he didn't really understand that like I was having trouble because I'd never worked at a restaurant before, and I just had to tell him that like I was having trouble like with all the tables and getting confused with everything. So in the summer I was a hostess at a local restaurant. And part of my job, I worked there for about 2 months. And about 1 month into it, I had to train a new hostess, and she had a really, really hard time. So we had to memorize the numbers of each table, so we would mark off where we sat each party. And she had a really, really hard time memorizing each of the tables, so she would say them incorrectly, and it caused a lot of problems and confusion with the waitresses and waiters. So I came up with a system to help her memorize it, and she learned really quickly and efficiently through that system, and so solved that problem.
Great. Why don't we start with you, Anna, in terms of your experience, the comfort level confidence and relevance of your response?
I felt very confident. It was kind of relevant because I knew the tables and where to sit, so I kind of found a way to show her my perspective on that. Could have been a little bit more relevant, I think.
I think it's a perfectly relevant example to share. You want to talk about your role in, the question was, how did you persuade someone to see things your way? You kind of solved the problem, but you didn't tell me how you persuaded her. So I'd want to hear a little bit more about that. So it would be more, not that your example was not appropriate, it just didn't answer it right on the nose. Okay. A little bit more energy coming from your face.
Okay.
Or even just use gestures would be helpful too. Okay, good job. So Ethan, how did you feel with your answer? You started us out talking about the maintenance and office park move. Okay.
I felt my story was relevant to the question. I think I did a good job speaking and articulating myself. I do think I spoke a little bit too long. I could have been more concise with my answer. It felt like I was talking for a long time. So that's something I think I should work on.
And what about the result?
How do you mean?
What was the benefit, the result of your work? The situation, action, result is the technique we're practicing. You talked about as a result of persuading your boss or your supervisor, you were able to have a much more efficient, manage all those moving pieces, so to speak. One thing to tighten up or maybe even to change, it's not necessary for you to say he wasn't really on board at first.
Okay.
So you want to take credit for, I introduced a new system, a methodology or system of laying out all the details, how we could get things done more quickly and more efficiently. And I was able to persuade him to give us a try, and it worked out. Something like that. But you said it twice that he isn't really on board, and it made you sound like you didn't respect your manager.
Okay.
You don't want to have that come across.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Annie, how did you think you did?
I felt pretty confident. I think I could have expanded on how I communicated with my boss to persuade him that I was just having a tough time and it was my first day.
So you talked about the importance of communication. In the beginning, you set up, I wasn't able to keep up with the pace, and I was confusing certain things, and we all can understand how difficult waitressing can be. So you had communication from him. You sat down and communicated with him about you needed a little bit more help and more support as in this new role. What I would have liked to hear after that was what you learned about it. So as I know, when I go into unfamiliar work situations, I should ask questions. I should ask for help. Something like that, just to tie it all up with the bow. All right, nice job, you guys. So this exercise is really meant to help you practice these techniques. There's no right and wrong answers. I guess there could be some wrong ones if you want to think about it in that way. But think about these if you're going to an informational, behavioral interview. It's usually your second or third before you get a job offer. This is where they start to weed people out. Use your time in between classes and just practice some of these stories and start to pull together those stories so that you remember them and they're fresh in your mind. There's a post that I put, I believe, on one of our LinkedIn pages, one of our LinkedIn groups, about creating a storybook. And experienced speakers do that. They have a whole different, almost what we have here, a whole list of topics, and they write down stories of the day I met Oprah, or the day that I worked in, the Dairy Queen, and messed up orders, or something along those lines. So you can pull those stories out once you have them and start to write them down, but it's good to start to treasure hunt and mine those now. So thank you for your attention and your good work today. I think everybody did a really nice job. See you on Friday. Are you going to downstairs? I'll be up. I'll be in the okay. If you just want to do a picture or homework.
Think about the
At that point.
You guys are